Tuesday, the stocks have rallied after the worst slump in 4 years, and markets have stabilized despite China's great fall. Now, Black Monday, this was the first time ever that the Dow has dropped by more than 500 points on 2 consecutive days. The Dow Jones Industrial Average plummeted 588 points. Now, if it would have stayed at that level, it would have been one of the worst single-day stock market crashes in U.S. history by a wide margin. But instead, it only turned out to be the 8th worst day ever. Now, the amazing thing is that the Dow actually performed better than almost every other major global stock market on Monday. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ both did worse than the Dow. In Europe, almost every major index performed significantly worse, as well as Asia. Japanese stocks were down 895 points. And Chinese stocks experienced the biggest decline of all at 8.46%. So obviously, smoke and mirrors here. Do not be fooled. We are in the midst of a financial meltdown, and it is truly global in scale. It's just going to kind of take a little while to unfold. There's going to be a lot of false props and ups and downs. Now, Chinese markets, they've crashed again. So it's the biggest collapse they've had in 20 years. The key Shanghai Composite Index sank another 7.63% today, extending its worst 4-day rout since 1996. And Donald Trump is warning that China's handling of this current financial crisis could lead to an economic depression.
They're devaluing their currency, and by doing that, they're cheapening their currency, and they're making it very inexpensive. They will be able to make goods for far less than our goods. You know, we make great product, but it's impossible to compete when the product is so much more expensive.
All right, so
eventually, what they're
money,
doing, though, leads to depression, Bill.
They're flooding money
eventually.
All right.
Now, as Peter Schiff and others have pointed out, the Chinese meltdown is partly responsible for all of these market jitters, but the correction in the U.S. stock market has more to do with a 7-year program of Federal Reserve quantitative easing that is coming to an end. But either way, there is some basic prepping that you can and should be doing. We're hearing this. Everyone we have on, from Gerald Celente to Harry Dent, everyone is saying prep. You need to prepare. Just like you have a life insurance and flood insurance, you got to kick your prepping into overdrive. So they're saying stock up on canned goods and bottled water. Get hard cash in a safe place now. Don't assume that banks and cash points are going to be open or that bank cards will work. Agree on a rally point with your loved ones in case transport and communication gets cut off, somewhere that you can all head to. And also, many experts are saying that you and your family should be able to survive indoors safely, bare minimum 1 month, because when the grid goes down, there will be chaos and preppers will be the last man standing. So be prepared. Now, Jeb Bush is standing behind using the term anchor babies. He's getting really sick and tired of being harangued by the Clinton camp. He's saying he wasn't talking about Hispanics, but Asians when he was using the term anchor babies. He says it's the Asians that are taking advantage of America's laws. He says he was at a press conference today in McAllen, Texas. He is visiting the border there with Mexico. So he's like, my background, my life, the fact that I am immersed in the immigrant experience, this is ludicrous for the Clinton campaign and others to suggest that somehow I am using a derogatory term. And besides, he wasn't referring to Hispanics anyway. He had Asians in mind. He was talking specifically about the case of fraud being committed where there's organized efforts. And frankly, it's more related to Asian people coming into our country, taking advantage of a noble concept with birthright citizenship. So obviously, he is seemingly referring to the federal crackdown that took place earlier this year in Southern California with these maternity hotels taking place in California. This was basically a lot of Asian women coming in and gaming the system. Now, we've been reporting on this. These are very wealthy foreigners from everywhere. So I don't know why he's specifically going after Asians. But let's look at the very real economic costs of birthright citizenship. Now, the National Review is talking about a fascinating new Rolling Stone essay talking about Welcome to Maternity Hotel California, where they're talking about the birth tourism and how it's confirming that the current interpretation of the 14th Amendment is being used. It works as a magnet for people to come all the way to the United States just to have their child here. According to Center for Immigration Studies, between 350,000 and 400,000 children are born annually to an illegal alien mother residing in the U.S. That's as many as 1 in 10 births. Now, illegal immigrants make up about 4% of the adult population, but their children make up a much larger share of both the newborn population and the child population. Now, if you're taking into consideration that the USDA projected that a child born in 2013 would cost his parents $304,000 from birth to the age of 18, that's a lot of money. But when you're considering that about 71% of illegal alien households are receiving some sort of welfare, I mean, as 2009 last numbers that we're getting, that means a lot of that money is being taken out of the government coffers, out of taxpayer dollars. And, that assistance is guaranteed to people that are born here. So, and additionally, they have access to public schools, health care, and, they rarely pay taxes. Obviously, a lot of those things are going to be changing. But, Hillary Clinton, she thinks that's just wrong for anyone to use those terms. She is the champion for Planned Parenthood. Those babies don't matter, but don't you dare use a derogatory term.